Hello! Today I thought I'd do an art haul. I usually don't buy a lot of art materials at once because I'm more of a refill what you used up person, but I recently went on a trip to Germany and I thought I'd treat myself. However, I didn't find all the things on my list while in Germany, so I did end up buying a few extra things when I got home. So one of the things I wanted was more watercolor. So I've been using Cotman pan watercolor for quite some time, and I've recently realized that I really enjoy working with watercolor, so I wanted to buy better quality watercolor. But the watercolor I found in Germany was almost exclusively Schminke watercolor and the professional grade, which is really expensive. So it's like 10 to 18 euros per tube, 15 mil, and that's a bit out of my budget right now. So I didn't buy any watercolor. I did, however, pick up some Schminke gouache. I'm not quite sure if I really enjoy gouache yet, but I want to try it more, so I wanted to try a different brand. I've got Winsor Newton designer gouache and the jelly gouache from Himi, and I don't like the jelly gouache. And this was still quite inexpensive. I'm hoping it's a decent quality gouache. It was, I think, 18 euros for this one. So it's the three primary colors, black and white. And it says that they are light fast, so they should be still decent quality. So I'm curious to try these. So I picked up those. I wanted to buy some watercolor brushes too. So this is the brush I'm using most of the time currently. It's a Cotman watercolor size 6. It's fine, it's a good size for what I'm usually painting, but I don't like the tip. If you can see the ends, how they are cut, I don't really enjoy that. I would like one that it's more bell-shaped. So I wanted to buy a new watercolor brush. Again, I didn't find what I was looking for, and it didn't really offer the brands I'm used to, and I didn't want to spend too much on a brush from a brand I wasn't familiar with. But what I did buy was, I got this one, a size 7 watercolor brush. It looks about the same size as the one I got, but it's a finer tip, so I think that will do well. So I'm gonna try that out in a minute. And then I also bought some brushes that I hope will be good with gouache. So a mixture of flat and round brushes. So I'm curious to try out these ones. So this is Da Vinci, and those were from Van Gogh. I'm hoping those are good. I did also buy some watercolor paper. I've used this exact watercolor paper before. I still have it, but it's a much bigger size. I think it's 4 times this size. It is a good product if you want a more inexpensive watercolor paper. It does warp quite a bit when you work on it, but it does dry quite flat. And it's not wavy warping, it's more like a big bump. It doesn't bother me that much. So I bought some of this, but I got a smaller size. I have got a paper cutter, but its blade needs replacing and I can't find replacement for this exact brand. I think I'll just need to buy a new paper cutter, but in the meantime I got some smaller papers to work on. I did also buy 2 water containers for painting outside because I want to try to paint more in situ with watercolor. I think that would be quite fun and at least have the opportunity to do it. So these were quite inexpensive, so I picked up, you could either get 2 that were connected, but I decided to get 2 loose ones. It's because I usually don't have one dirty water, one clean water container. I usually just have the one container, so I think it would be easier for me to just have 2 separate ones. So I'm interested to try these, but it's just small containers for water that I'm presuming are watertight once the lid is on. I was looking for something like that, so I'm quite happy I find those. I think actually I wanted something bigger, but I think this is an inexpensive option until I find out if I even enjoy painting outside. I couldn't resist getting another sketchbook. I know I have too many already that I haven't started, but I wanted to try yet another one. I got some inexpensive ones recently, and the first one I tried, it's not bad, but it's not the quality I would have liked. It's decent for the price, I'd say. I wanted to try something from a brand that is supposed to be high quality. So this is Hahnemühle watercolor book, cold press, 200 GSM, 60 pages, A6. So I'm curious to try that one. I am a bit bit unsure since it's only 200 GSM how the paper is going to behave, but hopefully it will behave well. The last thing I got in Germany was this print block. I got everything I needed to try some liner printing a while back. I don't know if it is the block I got that's too hard or if it's my tools that are not sharp enough, but either way I found it really difficult to carve using the materials I got. So I wanted to try something softer. So this is, it's not quite rubbery, but it's a lot softer than the block I got already. So I wanted to try this one just to see if it would work, and if I'm struggling with this one I guess I need to buy some better tools. But this is all I got in Germany, and as I mentioned there was a few things I still wanted that I couldn't find. My main problem while shopping in Germany was that the stores were quite limited when it came to brands, so they would have quite a lot of schminke products, but I wanted to try some other brands as well. So let's move this aside and take a look at everything else I got. So when I got home I ordered from my usual places. So one thing I got, I said I wanted some better quality watercolor, but I still decided to buy a few more of the Cotman ones. So I got I can show you what I got already. I got one of those ready palettes. These are 11 of the original colors, and then I replaced the white with Payne's Grey because I usually mix my own Payne's Grey and I don't mind doing that, but as you can see I've used a lot of my ultramarine. So I already got a replacement for my ultramarine, and then I added the Payne's Grey to basically get a shortcut for a dark color. It's a bit cooler than what you can get from mixing your own with blue and brown, but I mean you can add a bit of brown if you want it warmer or a bit of blue if you want it cooler. So this is what I got already. So I decided to add a purple because you can't mix a good purple with this palette. So I got Dioxazine Purple, which is my favorite purple when it comes to acrylic paints. I'm hoping I will like this one, and I'm gonna swatch it later on. I also decided to get mauve just because it looked pretty. It was actually my only reason. And then I got some Prussian blue, which again is a favorite for acrylics. So I'm just curious to see how it will look in watercolor. So I'm gonna swatch those in a minute. Along with my travel water containers, I also wanted some travel brushes, and there were some in the art shops I went to in Germany, but they were really expensive, and again I wasn't familiar with those brushes, so I didn't really want to spend 35 euros on a brush not knowing what I would get. I mean, if you pay 35 euros I'm assuming it's a good brush, but I still didn't want to spend all that money, especially since I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy painting outside. But I did find these at home. It's from Raphael, so it's 2 sizes. Bit of glue left on, I don't like that. But let's see if they are just small or... oh, they are just small. Okay, so this is not really... I wanted ones where you could break them in half and you get a lid included, but I guess I can make sure I keep these plastic protecting tubes and just store them like that. So this is size 1 Precision, and then we got size 0 Soft Aqua. Both of them look like they're going to hold a decent amount of water, and they have a nice point to them, so I'm gonna try those too when I swatch my watercolor. They are short, but they still feel quite nice to hold. So my Cotman, I can show you that one too. So my Cotman, this palette came with a travel brush, but it's really tiny. Hang on. So this is the brush included in my Cotman palette, but it's super small. And you would expect this to snap on the back and be an extension, but it doesn't really hold. So you can see it wiggles and it's gonna come loose. So it doesn't give you good support because this moves and then it comes off. So what you got is basically this really tiny brush, and it's also quite a small size. I much prefer something shaped like these two, because then you can hold a lot of water but you still got that nice tip for precision. So I have tried this one, but I haven't really properly used it because I think it's really bad actually. So I'd rather the set didn't come with a brush if this is what they're going to offer. So this is all I had, and I didn't want to use it, as you can imagine. You can travel with a regular brush, but I just wanted something smaller. Let me just see if these ones will fit in my Cotman palette. That would be... I think they are too long. Yeah, even if I remove the plastic, they are too long. But that's fine. I usually want to bring a pen or a pencil with me anyway, so I can just store the brush with that. Okay, so along with my brushes I also got some pencils. So these are colored. This looks quite yellow, but I think it's orange. This is purple, and then I got a pink one. It's the Pilot Color Eno. I think I'm gonna end up buying the whole set probably because they are cute and fun, but I decided to just start with 3 of them. I also got another sketchbook because of course I did, but this one is for dry medium. So I think I have bought another sketchbook from this brand, Nassau, before, and it was quite decent. It's a much bigger one. So I think this is going to be about the same, but just smaller. Oh no, it's one of those. So what they've done is there's a sticker holding it down on the inside, on both sides, so you can't get it off without breaking it, which is unnecessary. And then the sticker ripped some of the inside. So I much prefer if they didn't use these stickers or they added the stickers on the inside. But usually when you buy a sketchbook with a sleeve, it's just tucked in, not glued down with anything. So I'm not too keen on that packaging. So it's 130 GSM, so the papers are quite thin, but they are slightly textured. They feel quite nice actually. 60 sheets, and it's 9 by 14 centimeters, the size. So I thought I'd use this one for just pencil sketches. Not that I needed another one, but the ones I got don't really have drawing paper. So for my cheap ones, this one it wasn't as cheap as the ones I got. But I have several of the art creation, what are they called? Those sketchbooks anyway. Those papers are really smooth, so this is more textured. I think this would be more pleasant to draw on. So I got one of those. And then I also got, to go with my gouache, I wanted another palette. So this is not exactly what I was looking for. I did consider getting another, I have one of those ceramic flower palettes for my watercolor, and I really like that one, and I considered buying a second one. But I think this might be nice just because I can save ready mixes, and it's airtight, so that's gonna be quite nice. And it's even, oh yeah, it's got a silicone inlay, I don't know what it's called, just to keep it airtight. So then I can have like the primary and then some secondaries and maybe tertiary colors ready mixed, and then I got a lot of mixing space in this one. So I bought this specifically for this gouache to go in this one. So hopefully those will go well together. And if I don't like this gouache, I still have my designer gouache, and I can fill this with my designer gouache instead. Though I really should use my Hemi gouache before, but I don't like my Hemi gouache. I don't know, what do you do when you don't like a medium that it's difficult to give away, because who wants half-used open Hemi gouache? Anyway, I got this one, so I'm hoping this will be good. And then I wanted to try a whole new medium. I have a suspicion, well, maybe I will be wrong, but I have a suspicion that I would like to use oil paints. I mostly use, when I use like regular paints, I've been using acrylics, but my problem with acrylics is that they dry too quickly. I like being able to mix on the canvas. So I think I like oil paints, but the way I have I don't have a studio, so I wouldn't be able to have the paints dry in a room that I'm not using. And I'm not too keen, even if I don't use solvents, I don't know if it's a good idea to be living in the room where all my paintings are drying. I'm not gonna use oil paints yet, but I did decide to get some oil pastels. I haven't used oil pastels since, I don't know, I was like 10, and that was in school. I don't remember either liking or disliking them. I know they're going to be messy, but I think they could maybe give a feel still. So I wanted to try those. I got some quite inexpensive ones, so I'm not expecting these ones to be good, but I think it will still be enough to just get a sense of the medium, and if I like it I can get some better ones. But if you do use oil pastels, please recommend your favorite brands in the comments so I can check those out. And to go with the oil pastels, really showing off my camera, I did get some more paper. I have paper at home, but this is a bit more textured than the mixed media paper I got already. So I haven't used this brand, well, I have used the brand, it's the same brand as the aqua pad I got, but this is the only product I've used from Clairefontaine. So this is the mixed media paint on pads, 20 sheets, acid free, A5 and 250 GSM. So it's quite nice. It looks a bit like cold pressed watercolor paper. So I think that will be nice just for some trying it out basically. So that's everything I got, but I thought I'd do a little bit of swatching of the materials too, just for fun. And I think I'm gonna sacrifice a couple of sheets from my aqua pad. A bit of water and a bit of paper towel. Okay, so where to start? I think I'm gonna leave the gouache for a later date because I don't want to open the tubes, and then I'm guessing they're more airtight now than they're gonna be once I've opened them, and I'm not planning on using them anytime soon. So I'm gonna leave those, but I want to try my brushes and the oil pastels and just check the color of these little ones. So let's rip out one of these sheets. Gonna start, see if this one is orange. I think so. Yes. So one downside I found with these ones is that they're not super pigmented, and they are on the lighter end or medium value, which does make it a bit hard to create any values as you're drawing. So they're not good for finer paintings on their own. The purple is a bit better. It is a bit difficult to get a lighter color though, since it's so pointy. It's easier when you can have, with a regular color pencil, you can sort of lay it down on the side and use the side for a lighter touch. But these are still... Oh, I like the pink actually. So I think the orange one is my least favorite of these. And purple is probably my favorite. But this was brighter than I thought it would be. So I was afraid this was gonna be a bit too pale, but I think I'll enjoy these ones. Alright, so for my watercolors, I think I'm gonna start out using this brush, if I can get it out of the packaging. How does it feel? Oh, it feels quite nice. Let's just remove the glue to start with and see how it holds its shape. Oh, that is nice. I like my brushes pointy. So let's start with the mauve. See how... Oh, that is nice. I have been missing a color like that. And then the purple. That is the color I wanted. So I think I'll enjoy those. I still like mixing my own colors, but I don't have the mixing colors needed to get a purple or a pink like that. And then lastly we got the blue. So it's a bit bluer than I had expected, a Prussian blue. I'm used to Prussian blue being a bit darker, a bit more black in it. But it's still a really nice color, but it's quite close to ultramarine. Let me just swatch my ultramarine and see if I'm just misremembering what that one looks like. We got a bit of the ultra... Oh yeah, it's quite different. I think that could be nice. Let me just check the other blue I got. I don't remember what blue this is. But as you can see, it's a green or blue. Yeah, so I think this... It's not a true blue, but that one looks more true blue than the other ones. Because this one is leaning a bit green. Yeah, so I like those, and I actually have a really good impression of this brush. I don't know how it's going to hold up because I just tried it a bit, but let's just see how much water it can hold. Yeah, so it doesn't hold a lot of water, but that's fine. I usually don't need my brushes to hold a lot of water. If I'm going to cover a large area, I usually do wet and wet anyway. It's more time consuming with a brush that doesn't hold as much water, but yeah, it's fine. It's a good size. It's got a nice tip. Let's just check how fine the lines are and maybe compare with my Cotman one. Oh, you can get really nice lines with this one. I do find that the tip is it's too soft. So it's a bit unreliable because it can fold sort of unexpectedly. But maybe just needing to get used to it, but it's a finer tip than the cotton one. Let's try that one. So you can see, first of all, you can tell already. Maybe I should zoom you in first. If we compare the brushes side by side, you can see that the new one has a much finer tip than the old one. I think maybe this one is a bit too long for my liking. I might end up giving it a trim, let's see. But yeah, just to compare this one. So what I usually do when I want a fine point with my cotton brush is that I flatten it and then I use the edge. So yeah, you can get as fine a line almost. For me, this is more reliable, but that could just be a case of me being used to this brush. So I might just need to practice a bit more with this one. But yeah, it's a bit too soft. So okay, that's better. That's quite nice actually. Yeah, I think I'll enjoy this one. I don't know if it's going to completely replace my old one, because sometimes a fine tip is going to be in the way, like when you want to cover larger areas. It's nice to have a brush that splays out a bit more. But yeah, I'm happy with this purchase, so that's good. Let's try my travel brushes too. So this was the Precision. Oh, these are heavily glued. It feels a bit firmer. I think this is a bit firmer than this one. So that's good for the point. I think it's going to hold up its shape a bit better. Oh, this is also nice. It's not as fine. And it's obviously smaller, so it's difficult to cover as large an area. But yeah, it feels nice. It's on the shorter end. I mean, it's still in my hand, but I would have liked it to be that long. This will do. So that's the bigger of the two, I believe. And then we got this one, the Soft Aqua. Oh, this is one of those for covering larger areas. You can see it's very soft. You can still get a fine point, but it's not gonna hold. If we just, can I do this side by side? Can you see the difference in how they move? So this is very soft, while this one is a lot firmer, and I can flatten it, but it doesn't really. This one is difficult to get to a fine point once wet. So I have to do a lot. This one just snaps back into old shape. Okay, so let's try painting a bit with this one. Go with the mauve. Oh yeah, this one is going to be a lot better for covering larger areas. So I think those will be a nice combo. Yeah, so I'm happy with those. I think they're going to be good for just seeing if I enjoy painting outdoors. Would have preferred if they came with lids. I'm not gonna try these brushes. I think they're just going to be quite average, but they look nice. So I'm hoping I'm gonna like those. So the last thing I want to try is the oil pastels, but we can just have a look at this paper so you can see how it behaves. So you can see it has got a slight bend to it. I haven't used a lot of water, but you can see it's still quite flat. It's not problematic bowing or waves or anything. It's good inexpensive paper if you just want to practice a lot. So I'm gonna use another sheet of my aqua pad, since there were only 20 sheets in the other pad I got. So let's try these. I can also say, if you're a watercolor artist and you have a favorite brand for more professional watercolor, I am tempted to look into Winsor & Newton just because it's the brand I've been using. And they are not as expensive as the Schmincke watercolor, even though I'm really tempted to get some of the granulating Schmincke colors. But if you have a brand you would recommend, or just a brand in general for tubed watercolor, please let me know in the comments. They smell a bit odd. I can't really place the smell. Maybe just like chemical or new. Okay, so this is, oh, it doesn't say what color it is. Oh, there it is, number 11 red. Okay, so it's Pentel Art oil pastels. I got a pack of 50 colors, and they just have a number and then a name. So this one is just called red. So let's, oh no, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be, but maybe that's what you get for buying the cheap ones. So it feels a bit more like a crayon than I had expected them to. So this is number 13 purple. But because they are so hard, I think getting a more textured paper was the right call. And let's get a blue one. But I'm still gonna use these. Even if I don't like them, I'm gonna force myself to use them. Number 52 Ultramarine Light. They work fine. They do mix a bit. Don't create the most beautiful color. Let's see what happens if we mix red back into that blue. Yeah, so you can create a mess. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I think I can enjoy these still. So let's just see if we can get chrome yellow. This is quite a warm yellow. And then we got an orange. And we want a more yellow red. So this is the number 10 vermilion. I mean, that's quite a nice color transition. And then we can go back to the red one. It's a bit warmer. No, sorry, it's a bit cooler. So that's still quite nice. So I think I can enjoy these and still get a feel of the medium and see if it bothers me. But yeah, I'm quite excited with my purchases. So I hope you found this interesting, and I'll just see you in the next one. Bye!